All right, let me quickly chat about the final chapter of Gulliver's Travels. Yes, where our author, um, his designs in publishing this work, his observations on other travel writers and how they make so much stuff up, which he says that it should be a law that they should actually have to go before the chancellor of the I think it's the chancellor of the exchequer and just swear that everything that they will publish is truth, because we should be not be just doing this for entertainment to jazz up the book. We should be doing this to increase the wisdom of things. The public good is the only thing that his sole intention was for the public good. Um, it's funny. The Oxford version probably has the original capitalization of this, whereas my Kindle copy is very much regularized English punctuation, even though it's the same word. So it's like public good is in big capital letters there. Um, um, you know, he does talk about how that there's the whole thing of like, well, as a traveler, once you've been to a country as a subject of that nation, that is what that European countries use to then claim, like, oh, we were there first. This country is ours because we're colonizers. Europe is all about grabbing other countries and murdering and subjugating and exploiting that company. Um, and he says, like, oh, but of course I'm not talking about Britain being horrible murdering brutes. However, they are horrible murdering brutes that then overlay their civilization on top of this, over people who had no real interest in being being conquered. But also, saying, like, look, he kind of reviews the countries I've been. Like, the Lilliputians would be hardly worth the charge. Um, it probably wouldn't be safe to go after the Brobdingnagians because they are giants and would just squash us. And whether an English army would be much at their ease with a flying island over their head, so they might actually be technologically over advanced. That's the whole gig of the Europeans. The Europeans had gained enough technological advantage that they used that to then subjugate people who hadn't gotten to that level of technology yet. So maybe that wouldn't be a good thing. And the Winhams, okay, yeah, the Winhams, they might not be, they're strangers to the idea of war, but just imagine a whole bunch of them running against a and 20,000 of them breaking into the midst of a European army and then battering the warriors' faces into mummy by terrible yerks from their hinder hooves, which I'm assuming is kicking their faces into mush. And really, you shouldn't do that. But if called upon by the thing to to say the truth, he would give testimony that he seemed to be the first European to actually come upon these lands. Um, but he does say, I really do have the desire that actually that the courteous, gentle reader. He does start off actually addressing them as gentle readers, which is, you kind of think is sarcastic when he's addressing us, the yahoos, with his book. That to tolerate, he's to lament the brutality of the Winhams in my own country, but always treat their persons with respect for the sake of my noble master, his family, his friends, and the whole Winham race. And to try and do stuff to maybe raise up yahoos ever so slightly, but in the end, the thing that he's like, I'm trying to reconcile myself with Yahoo kind, and I'm not. He isn't provoked by lawyers and colonels and whoremasters and physicians and attorneys and traders. But when he sees when he sees pride in human beings, that just like breaks him. That thing breaks him. It's like, how could such a creature as this be prideful? How could a creature like this have pride. It's like the wise and virtuous Winhams don't, wouldn't think, they would be no more, proud of their wisdom than a man is proud of having a hand or a foot. um which, yeah. And it's like, the final the final thing of, but the Winhams who live under the government of reason are no more proud of the good qualities they possess than I should be for not wanting a leg or an arm, which no man in his wits would boast of, although he must be miserable without them. I dwell the longer upon this subject from the desire I have to make the society of an English Yahoo by any means not insupportable, and therefore I here entreat those who have any tincture of this absurd vice, that they will not presume to appear in my sight. Like, if you have pride in being a human being, I do not want to see you. It just kills me. It just kills me. And that is the end of Gulliver's Travels, which then has a ton of notes, of which, here, I'm going to pause and see if there's anything I want to note. Oh, I did butcher some Latin. Nor, if fortune has made Sinon for misery, will she also in her spite make him false and a liar, from Virgil, the Aeneid. And Yerks or kicks. Recaltrat undit tutus. He kicks back at every point on his guard. Horace in the Satires. And there's just like the last note here is, about this whole thing of don't come into my sight if you've got pride. It's like Gulliver ends like Raphael Hillode with the diatribe against one single monster, the prime plague and begetter of all others. I mean pride. That's from Utopia, a book that I should really read, apparently. Gulliver, who has, as he feared, relapsed into human corruptions since leaving Wynnum Land, here embodies the absurd vice as he preaches against it. Because yes, it's like, I am so far above this. Don't even come to my sight with pride, because yes, he's got his own kind of sense of high sense of self, that he is so above all of this. And he does it's like, I'm trying not to be, but like, I'm so above all this. Definitely that is there. So that is Gulliver's Travels by Jonathan Swift. Wow, really enjoyed that reading. More videos later.